Okay, so I'm over at Rick's house. This is what I keep calling Little Nelly, but it's not, of course, Little Nelly. What is it, Rick?
It's a sport copter M912.
M912.
The 912 designates the Vortex 912.
And how much of this did you build?
Over 51%. That's what's required, and that's what I did. Went to the factory, spent 2 weeks up there with Jim and Scappoose, Oregon, and this is the result. Super little flying machine.
Did you do anything that was non-standard? Did you modify anything?
Not really, per se. Might have put in, it didn't come with the GPS or have a spot. Added that in a little place. I added a preheater, which if you film on the bottom, preheats the engine and the oil tank.
Really?
On the other side of easy heat.
And this is a 912, yeah?
Yeah, which I leave it on about 2 hours. If you come on this side, you can see it. I plug it in and leave it on 2 hours prior to flying, and by the time I am ready to push it out, everything's up to almost temperature.
What is the white stuff there,
That's
Rick?
a wax.
It's a wax.
To start with, this belt has to break in and slip. This is the pre-rotor little shaft gearbox that pre-rotates your main rotor, and this has to slip when it's not engaged.
So you get up to, is it 300 RPM or something like that with the main rotor?
Around 220 in that neighborhood before I release it, and then add power to it to go. At about 275, 280, it's producing, the rotors are producing enough lift to start pulling the front gear off and bouncing on the mains.
Right, so you have to go from 220 to 280 on the ground.
Yeah.
But it's only 500 feet?
It all depends on if I've got any type of headwind, how cool it is, how heavy it is, how rough the ground is, how smooth the ground is, how much power I add in that roll. Of course, the longer you hold it, the more you try to spin the rotor up by the motor, the more it wears your flex shaft out in your gearbox.
Yes, right.
Versus if you've got lots of runway or more runway, that's not a problem with anything.
If you had to, what do you think the shortest could be?
Jim said, you know, if you got, that was the air pump. This is all air, had air operated from my trim and tip.
And that's iFly coming up, is it?
Yeah, that talks to you. With 30-mile-an-hour headwind, 25-mile-an-hour headwind, you could virtually do a 0 roll takeoff.
God, I want to see that. So my thought is, after we do this...
How much, that depends on how you like to fly in windy-ass weather. Exactly. Well, the more wind you have it, a gyro isn't affected by wind like a fixed wing is at all.
Yeah, you've said that a few times, and I can see why.
The disc is not affected, this rotor up here is not affected, and does not near react to wind like a fixed wing, and a light fixed wing plane does.
So are you 30 foot? What's your rotor length?
28 feet.
28 feet. And the length of the body is probably, what, 14 or something?
In that neighborhood, probably. This little machine and that little machine weigh really close to the same.
So this is probably something?
40 something.
540 something, really. And how many?
It's got 9 gallons of fuel behind the tank,
yeah,
and 5 gallons on each drop tank.
So how many hours?
19 gallons usable fuel.
How many hours in flight?
Longer than I got bladder to go.
Really? So you could fly 3 hours-ish or something?
Oh, no, you could go, you know, at 4.5 gallons an hour. Yeah, you got close to 4 hours on there, easy.
And when it starts to rain, how often do you wish you had doors? I don't think much of it would get you, would it? You have these little baffles.
Really? I just not sure.
You'd ever fly in the rain?
Not by choice. The other day I got caught in just a little shower and I booked it back to the airport.
Exactly.
Really fast.
Well, what we're going to do next is we're going to go do some short takeoff and short landings, and we're going to do a little bit of in-flight stuff.
Sounds good. Yep.
Here he comes again.